The spaceport on the trade moon Kipper 7 buzzed with noise ships landed. Merchants shouted, and species from across the galaxy bargained over every scrap of tech imaginable. Among the chaos, a young human engineer named Tom crouched beside a power unit, frowning hard. Sparks flew. The cooling vent was jammed again. He had just finished a 3-week cargo run and desperately needed rest. But the only thing worse than a broken engine was the sarcastic AI built into his ship, who refused to stay quiet until the gear was fixed. As Tom muttered under his breath, a shadow fell over him. He looked up and froze. An alien girl was standing there, tall, slim, bright purple skin with greenish patterns swirling across her arms. She had large golden eyes and 2 small antennae twitching on her forehead. Her work jumpsuit looked like it had seen 50 battles and 0 laundry cycles. "Doing that wrong," she said, kneeling beside him without asking. Tom blinked. "Excuse me? You twisted the plasma coil the wrong way. Human manuals never consider rotation alignment from non-Terran polarity." He blinked again. "You fix human gear?" "I fix everything," she said proudly, pulling a small tool from her belt. "Name's Lyra. You can thank me later." Before Tom could reply, she was already elbow deep in the power unit, humming a strange tune. Tom couldn't help but watch. The way she moved, fast, precise, and utterly confident, was both impressive and a little unsettling. "So," he began, trying to be polite, "you work here?" "Sort of," she said. "I help out around the docks. Fix things that no one else can. Also, I collect weird tech. Human tech is very weird." Tom scratched the back of his neck. "Well, that explains a lot." Lyra grinned, flashing sharp teeth. "Your ships talk too much, by the way." As they worked, the gap between them slowly shrank. Literally, at one point, she leaned so close that their foreheads nearly bumped. "Sorry," she mumbled, not sounding sorry at all. "Your scent is strange. It's like burnt metal and sugar." Thanks," Tom muttered, blushing. She inspected him like he was part of the machine. "Is your skin always this pink? Are you overheating?" Tom almost dropped his wrench. What started as a simple repair job quickly turned into something more awkward. She asked questions about human hearts. How many chambers? Do they overheat under stress? Why did his chest beat faster when she touched his hand? Tom, red-faced and trying not to panic, mumbled explanations that only confused her more. Lyra seemed to find his discomfort amusing. She touched his jaw and tilted his head slightly. "Your neck tube is throbbing. Does that mean danger or desire?" Tom coughed. "Definitely not danger." She nodded like a scientist who just discovered a new species. "Fascinating." Suddenly, his ship powered up with a loud whir. "Done," she said, standing up and dusting her hands. "Your gear's better than new." Tom stared, still trying to catch up with everything that just happened. Before she walked off, Lyra paused and looked over her shoulder. "I'll check the rest of your ship later. Maybe fix your nervous system too, if it keeps glitching when I talk." And just like that, she was gone, disappearing into the crowd with her tools jingling. Tom sat back, stunned. His ship was fixed. His pride was dented. And somehow, he was pretty sure he just had his first alien flirtation, even if it involved being compared to a faulty engine. He had no idea what tomorrow would bring, but he had a feeling his quiet life just got a whole lot weirder. The next morning, Tom was halfway through his breakfast bar, some dry protein block that tasted like recycled socks, when a sharp knock echoed from the airlock door. Thunk. Thunk dash thunk dot. He wasn't expecting visitors. He wasn't ever expecting alien visitors. He opened the door cautiously. And there she was, again. Lyra. Same jumpsuit, same purple skin, same mischievous spark in her golden eyes. But this time, her tool belt was double-loaded, and she held a strange, glowing scanner the size of a loaf of bread. "Your ship still smells like confusion," she said bluntly, stepping in without waiting for an invite. "U.A. Morning to you too?" She looked around like a tourist visiting a strange zoo. "You sleep in this box?" "It's called a bunk room. Looks more like a storage closet that gave up on life." Tom rolled his eyes and followed as she started, poking around the ship. "Look, I appreciate the help yesterday, but I think we're good now. No more sparks, no more overheating." Lyra stopped and pointed to the ceiling. "Your secondary coolant system is 2 degrees too warm." "That's fine." She turned slowly, squinting at him. "Is your system still too warm?" Tom blinked. "Are you talking about my body?" Lyra raised the glowing scanner. "I brought this to find out." Tom took a cautious step back. "Why do I feel like I'm about to be disassembled?" "Relax. I don't disassemble friends. Only enemies. Or really stubborn machines. That doesn't make me feel better." Ignoring him, she pointed the scanner at his chest. The device beeped, whirred, and projected a hologram of Tom's internal organs. Lyra's eyes widened in curiosity and delight. "Whoa," she breathed. "So many moving parts. You have a backup fluid pump? That little fluttering bit in your stomach. Does that mean fear?" Tom cleared his throat. Probably breakfast." Lyra tilted her head. "Or excitement. Or maybe both. You humans have so many reactions for one small space." As she leaned in, Tom could feel her breath on his neck. She was close again, too close. Her antennae twitched toward his face, then she poked his cheek. Still pink, still glitching. "I'm not glitching," he said quickly, stepping away. She grinned. "You're very squishy for someone who hauls metal crates. And you're very hands-on for someone who fixes gear." She looked proud. "Of course. Touch is data. I can't understand a system without feeling how it responds." Tom tried very hard not to think about how her fingers had lingered on his chest earlier. Then she said, "Your vocal cords vibrate at funny patterns when you're flustered. I think I like it." Tom turned to the wall and pretended to check a display. "So, are you going to scan the ship, or—" "Already did. Your ship's fine. You, on the other hand, need more fluids." I just drank a whole hydration pack. "Not that kind," she said, handing him something that looked like blue jelly in a squeeze pouch. "This helps regulate emotional overload in 67 species. I added cinnamon for humans." Tom stared at it. "You know you're weird, right?" "I've been called worse," she said, leaning against a control panel. "Anyway, I'm not here just for scanning." He raised an eyebrow. "No? I wanted to know more about human bonding rituals." Tom nearly choked. "Excuse me?" "You got all strange when I touched you yesterday. Your body temperature spiked." Eyes widened. "Same reaction I saw in 2 battle sloths during mating season." "Battle sloths?" She nodded. "Very expressive creatures." Tom ran a hand down his face. "I'm not reacting like a sloth. I'm just not used to aliens being this personal." Lyra walked up to him and, without warning, flicked his nose. He jumped. "Just testing your reflexes," she said innocently. "Fast. Very sloth-like." Tom sighed. "What do you want, Lyra?" Her expression shifted slightly, softer now. "Maybe I want to understand humans better. Maybe your systems are more complex than I expected. Maybe I like the pink glitch you do when I'm near." Before he could reply, she smiled, turned, and headed to the airlock. "I'll be back tomorrow," she called over her shoulder. "Next time, I bring the full diagnostic kit. And snacks." The door closed with a hiss. Tom stood there in stunned silence. This was not going to be a normal week. Asterisk the next day. Tom tried to stay busy. He checked every system twice, cleaned the floor, reorganized the tools, even realigned the cargo stack just to avoid thinking about her. But Lyra still arrived exactly on time. She walked in like she owned the ship, a pouch slung over her shoulder and a small floating drone. Buzzing beside her, Tom barely had time to open his mouth before the drone zipped past him and scanned the whole cabin. "What's that?" he asked. "Privacy field emitter?" she said. "Keeps curious ears away." Tom raised an eyebrow. "Whose? Spying on us?" "No one. Yet. But you humans leak signals like old plasma bags." Before he could argue, she tossed him something. It looked like a shiny, sealed cube with vents on each side. "Try it. Alien snack from my home moon. Soft, crunchy, sweet, and slightly explosive if heated wrong." Tom stared at it. "You're joking, right?" Lyra's eyes twinkled. "Try it and find out." He unwrapped the cube carefully, half expecting it to hiss or squirm. But it just smelled like roasted nuts and cinnamon. One small bite in, and suddenly his tongue was dancing. It tasted like 10 flavors at once, changing every second. First honey, then mint, then tomato. He coughed and dropped it. Lyra laughed so hard, she nearly fell off the bench. "You should see your face. It turned 3 colors." Tom wiped his mouth. "I think it's chewing back. That means it likes you." He squinted. "This snack's alive?" "Just a little," she said. "Don't worry. It dies happy." Tom gave her a slow glare. "You are the weirdest person I've ever met." "Thanks," she said proudly, unzipping her pouch. "Now sit. I brought something else." He hesitated, but sat. She pulled out a strange glove with glowing lines and waved it in front of his chest. "This is for human emotion readings," she explained. "Can't we just talk about emotions like normal people?" "No," she said bluntly. "Talking is unreliable. Your species lies constantly. Not all of us." She placed the glove on his chest. He jumped. "That's cold." "I set it to chill mode. It increases reaction accuracy." Her fingers adjusted small knobs, and the glove made a soft hum. A blue ring formed on his shirt, pulsing with every heartbeat. "Okay," she said, watching the readings. "Now tell me how you feel when I do this." She poked his side, gently at first. In a quick jab, Tom laughed uncontrollably. "Ticklish." "Stop. Interesting," she murmured, scribbling notes into a tiny wrist pad. "Touch causes loss of verbal control." "That's not a scientific conclusion." "Then let's test another area." Before he could protest, she poked his shoulder, then his knee, then pressed 2 fingers under his jaw. Tom couldn't help it. He laughed, squirmed, and eventually rolled off the bench. "Subject attempts to flee under extreme stimulus," she noted. "Subject wants peace and space." Tom gasped. Lyra chuckled, dropping onto the bench beside him. "You humans are soft and ridiculous. I like it." Tom sat up, trying to breathe. "Is this how you treat all new species?" "Only the fun ones." She looked at him more seriously. "This time, you know, most species stay away from humans. Too unpredictable, too emotional. But I think you're just tightly packed chaos, like a star about to burst." Tom raised an eyebrow. "That's either the most romantic thing I've ever heard or the most terrifying. Why not both?" She whispered Dot. They stared at each other for a long second. The hum of the ship was the only sound. Then her antennae twitched. "Your heart rate just jumped again." Tom sighed. "Because you keep saying things like that." "Fascinating," she muttered, still scribbling. Just then, the glove beeped. Its lights turned red and pulsed rapidly. Lyra frowned. "That's odd. What is it?" She looked at him seriously. "According to this, you're either falling in love or going into cardiac shock." Tom groaned, and fell back onto the floor. I should have stayed in bed. Lyra just grinned, stood, and patted his head. Rest now, emotional jelly creature. Next session, we test your memory response under hugs. Tom didn't respond. He just closed his eyes and mumbled something about alien weirdness. The next day. Tom thought he had escaped. He left early, walked around the docking zone, and tried to disappear into a crowd of traders and maintenance bots. He even wore a cap low over his face, but it was no use. Lyra found him. Of course, she found him. There you are, she said cheerfully, appearing from behind a stack of barrels like she'd been waiting there all morning. You missed our scheduled emotion check, Tom groaned. That wasn't scheduled. It was implied, she said, grabbing his sleeve and pulling him back toward the ship. You humans are so indirect. It's adorable. I was just stretching my legs. Then you can stretch them while I test how human lungs respond to surprise questions. Tom gave up resisting. It was easier just to follow. Besides, Lyra looked oddly excited today, like she had a new toy. Back inside the ship, she opened her toolkit and pulled out a mannequin? No, not a mannequin. It looked like a human torso made of flexible material, with glowing lines and built-in sensors. What is that? Tom asked, stepping back slowly. Human model. I printed it. Last night, based on your body scan. You printed a copy of my body? Just the top half, she said. Relax. No organs, just structure. Tom gave her a long stare. Do you realize how creepy that is? Not creepy, she said. Scientific. Tom looked down at the model. It had his chest, his arms, even a little fake pink blush added to the cheeks. You made it blush? For realism, she said with a proud smile. Now help me calibrate it. Absolutely not. Too late. She pressed a button, and the model lit up, responding to her touch with soft pings and light pulses. She tapped the chest. This part lights up when the emotional field is triggered. Tom looked uncomfortable. That's very specific. Lyra handed him a sensor. Now you try. Touch it. Speak to it. Let's see if the reactions change. Tom raised a hand and hesitated. You want me to talk to fake me? Exactly. Let's see if your voice triggers your own emotional mimicry. Tom sighed, leaned forward, and muttered, Hey. You're doing great. Just ignore the weird alien lady building fake bodies. Nothing. Lyra tilted her head. Try speaking more confidently. Tom cleared his throat. Hey, you. You're strong, capable, a top-tier human man. The fake torso lit up in a bright pink glow. Lyra clapped. Success. Tom looked horrified. Why did that work? Because your ego responded to flattery. Classic human. Tom pointed a finger. You're enjoying this too much. Yes, she agreed without shame. Now try complimenting me. He blinked. Wait, you? She crossed her arms. Just testing system comparison. Let's see if the model responds when you direct emotional signals toward me. Tom hesitated, then said slowly, Lyra, you're smart and very talented and strangely beautiful for a gear-obsessed alien. The fake chest glowed again, brighter this time. They both froze. Lyra looked surprised. It responded even stronger. Tom scratched his head. Isn't that a little weird? Lyra leaned forward. Very, which means we must repeat the test. No, we don't. But she was already scribbling new notes. Then the door. Alarm beeped. Someone was at the airlock. Tom moved to check the screen. It was a station inspector. Random visit. Probably to confirm ship logs and cargo codes. He opened the door. The inspector, a blue-skinned alien with too many eyes, looked past Tom and saw the glowing human torso on the floor. What? Is that? The inspector asked in a flat voice. Tom stammered, "It's not what it looks like. It's science." Lyra shouted from behind him. The inspector nodded slowly. Right, carry on. He left quickly. Tom shut the door, face red. This is getting out of control. Lyra looked proud. He thought you built a romantic assistant. I think you just earned some unexpected street respect. I'm not sure that's the kind I want. She grinned. Then let's fix your image. Tomorrow we run a new test. No more fake torsos? Nope. Just real humans and hugs. Tom blinked. What kind of test needs hugs? She winked. You'll see. And with that, she walked off again, leaving him wondering if it was too late to just move to another galaxy. Asterisk. Tom stood in front of the mirror. He didn't usually care much about his looks, messy hair, standard jumpsuit, grease on his sleeves. But today felt different. Why? Because Lyra said today was the day of hug testing. That sentence alone had haunted his sleep. He had tried to ignore her message. The night before, prepare your emotional core. I'm bringing 3 types of hugs for science. He didn't know what that meant, and he wasn't sure he wanted. When the knock came, he opened the door slowly. Lyra stood there wearing something new, a tight gray vest with glowing seams, clearly designed for sensor readings. Her antennae were decorated with shiny little clips, and she was smiling like a cat that found a slow mouse. You look nervous, she said. I'm fine, Tom replied, though his voice cracked slightly. Perfect. That means your readings will be clean. She walked in and activated a small hover drone that projected a glowing circle in the center of the room. Step into the circle. Tom obeyed with a sigh. This is the weirdest relationship I've ever had with a mechanic. Lyra stood beside him. Not a relationship, just calibrated curiosity. Sure. She tapped her wrist pad. Okay, hug type 1, neutral contact. For baseline emotional response. She raised her arms and hugged him lightly, barely touching. Her chin rested against his shoulder, antennae brushing his hair. Tom stiffened. You know humans don't always hug like this with strangers, right? I'm not a stranger. I fixed your power converter. That's not the same thing. The drone beeped softly. Heart rate rose 12%. Respiration quickened. Mild sweat response, Lyra said. Fascinating. I'm just warm. Tom insisted. She smirked. Sure. Okay, hug type 2. Supportive comfort. This time, she wrapped her arms fully around him and held tight. Tom wasn't prepared. Her body was warm. Her grip was firm, but not crushing. And she hummed some kind of soft alien melody that vibrated in his chest. His brain melted a little. I think you're breaking my concentration, he whispered. Good. That's where the real data hides. The drone beeped louder this time. Heart rate up 30%. You're very reactive. You're very close, he said. She stepped back, looking satisfied. Final hug. Hug type 3. Personal connection. No talking. Just feeling. She reached up and gently placed her hands on his face first. Her golden eyes studied him closely. Ready? She whispered. He nodded. She leaned in slowly, pulling him into a hug that wasn't just tight, it was honest. Her hands pressed into his back. Her antennae rested against his forehead. She didn't move. She just breathed with him. Seconds passed. Tom's mind stopped racing. His heartbeat slowed. The air felt warmer. It wasn't funny anymore. It was something else. The drone beeped again, but softly, almost respectfully. Then she stepped back and tapped her wrist pad without saying anything. Tom stared at her. So, what did the reading say? She looked up at him, serious now. You responded strongest to the last one. No surprise there, he muttered. But I did too. That made him pause. She held up her wristpad. My system detected mirrored response, shared regulation. That only happens with pair bonding species. Tom blinked. Are you saying we sensed? Yes, it means we're compatible. He laughed awkwardly. Like tech parts? No, like more than friends. That silenced him. Lyra walked closer. We don't do this easily. My kind doesn't touch much. But I keep coming back here. For you. And your broken systems. Tom looked down at her. I never asked you to. You didn't need to, she said softly. He reached out, touched. Her hand. This time she didn't scan or record. She just held on. They stood like that for a moment. Then the drone beeped again. Lyra rolled her eyes and shut it off. Stupid machine. Always ruining the moment. Tom grinned. Maybe it learned that from you. She laughed. Fair point. He leaned against the wall, finally relaxed. So, what now? She looked at him sideways. Now we move to phase 4. There's a phase 4? Yes, she said with a playful smirk. You meet my crew and explain why you are hugging the enemy's top engineer. Tom stared at her. She just winked. Asterisk, Tom didn't panic. Okay, he panicked a little. He stood stiffly on the dock platform beside Lyra, who was casually adjusting her tool belt, while chewing something that looked like glowing gum. You're joking, right? He whispered. You said I was hugging the enemy's engineer? Lyra shrugged. Former enemy. Technically. That's not helping. She gave him a calm look. The war ended 3 years ago. My people signed the truce. You humans still don't trust us, but you trust gear, and I fixed the best gear. Tom rubbed his forehead. You could have mentioned this earlier. You didn't ask, she replied sweetly. I thought you were just weird. I didn't know you were dangerously weird. Lyra smirked. That's the best kind. Just then, a bulky transport ship landed beside them. Its ramp dropped with a hiss. Out walked 3 aliens tall, armored with the same skin pattern as Lyra. They looked like they could bend metal with their elbows. One of them, the biggest, stared at Tom. Is this the human? Lyra nodded proudly. Yes, this is Tom. He's squishy, but emotionally stable. Tom gave a weak wave. Hi. The giant stepped forward. You smell like nervous sweat. Tom lowered his hand. I've had a weird week. The second, alien slimmer, with glowing rings on her sleeve, squinted. Lyra, did you imprint with this male? Lyra nodded again. Slightly, still testing emotional durability. Tom raised his hand again. I'm right here. The third one didn't speak. He just scanned Tom from head to toe with a flat expression. No weapons, poor posture, slight vitamin deficiency. Acceptable. Thanks. Tom said, unsure. Then. Suddenly, all 3 aliens stepped back and bowed to him. Tom flinched. Whoa, what's happening? Lyra smiled. Tradition. When one of us imprints with someone outside the clan, the rest show respect. I didn't agree to anything yet. Too late. You hugged me 3 times. Tom groaned. I should have read the fine print. One of the other aliens stepped forward. You will now be escorted to the proving zone. The what now? Lyra nudged him. It's just a test. Nothing dangerous. Probably. That's not comforting. But they were already guiding him down a path toward a large metal door. As it opened, Tom saw what looked like a training hall obstacle courses, hover drones, and heavy punching bags floating mid-air. I'm not fighting anyone, Tom said. Asterisk, no, Lyra said, patting his shoulder. You're demonstrating. Your skills. What skills? I fix coffee machines. She smiled. Exactly. We need that. You'll outsmart the test. The first challenge involved a panel with blinking lights. A logic puzzle. Tom solved it fast. The second test required him to repair a spinning drone. He did that too, with a few sparks and only one minor shock. The third test? Emotional resistance. A small robot played a sad recording of a lost alien child calling for their mother. Over and over. Tom sniffed. Okay, that's just mean. You passed, Lyra said, handing him a tissue. After the final test, the tall. Aliens gave short nods of approval. The leader said, You have shown skill, humor, and the ability to remain sane around Lyra. You are qualified. Tom looked confused. Qualified for what? Lyra stepped beside him, antennae twitching. To be my partner on the new frontier ship. We're going to be assigned together. Tom froze. Wait, you mean like work partners? Work, sleep, life, exploration, all the fun stuff. He blinked. That escalated fast. She leaned in close. You're already in this, Tom. Might as well upgrade your settings. Tom exhaled. Do I get my own tools at least? Better, she grinned. You get mine. Tom shook his head, laughing under his breath. Fine, but no more fake torsos or random hug experiments. She looked thoughtful. No promises. The aliens around them clapped in their own strange rhythm like soft drum beats on metal. It echoed through the hangar as Lyra grabbed Tom's hand. You'll be fine, she said gently. You're tougher than you look. Tom glanced at her, then at the ship they were about to board together. Yeah, he said. I guess. This is the weirdest promotion I've ever earned. Tom sat in the co-pilot chair of the Starhopper Echo, staring at the blinking console like it was a math test written in 5 languages. Lyra sat beside him, feet up on the dashboard, munching something that crackled and steamed as she chewed. So, he said slowly, You built this ship? I patched this ship, she corrected. It belonged to a smuggler once, and a science team, and a herd of singing frogs. Now it's ours. Tom looked around the cabin. Half the panels were mismatched. The walls were painted in streaks of neon blue and warm copper, and a tiny sticker on the main control panel read, Touch this and it explodes. He wasn't sure if it was a joke. Have no idea how to fly this thing, he admitted. Asterisk. You're not flying, Lyra said, tossing him a toolkit. You're the system's fixer. I break things. You panic. Then you fix them. That's not teamwork. That's sabotage. It's bonding, she said, smirking. Suddenly, the ship beeped loud and urgent. Tom jumped. What now? Lyra glanced at a monitor. Oh, message from the dock. Someone left a note for you. For me? She tapped the screen, and a simple message popped up in bold letters. To the human with the bright face and death stare, good luck. You'll need it. DocTech #14. Tom groaned. Even the ground crew thinks I'm in trouble. Lyra leaned toward him. You are in trouble. You just haven't realized it's the fun kind. The ship lifted off, humming like an overcharged blender. Tom tightened his grip on the armrest. I swear if this thing falls apart midair. It won't, she said. I glued everything. You? Glued? With bonding agents stronger than love. Tom was about to argue when the ship suddenly jolted. Lights flickered. Panels sparked behind him. Did you glue the power core? Not exactly. The lights flickered again. Tom dove for the rear hatch, opened the back panel, and started, fixing wires like his life depended on it, which it probably did. You're not helping, he shouted. I'm observing, she replied, watching from above, like a scientist watching her favorite experiment. After 5 minutes of sweating and cursing, the ship stabilized. Tom fell back, arms spread, panting. Lyra knelt beside him. You did great. 87% faster than my last partner. Your last partner died, didn't he? Technically, he retired. But yes, also. Exploded. Tom sat up slowly. Good to know. She smiled, handed him a glowing bottle of water, and leaned close. But you? You're still here, still fixing, still making me laugh. Tom looked at her. You know, for someone who acts like a walking science lab, you're actually kind of sweet. She grinned. That's just chemical residue from our bonding experiments. I'm choosing to believe that was a compliment. Good. It was? Asterisk, they sat quietly for a moment, the hum of the engine now steady. Outside the windows, stars stretched into long lines as the ship jumped to light speed. Tom finally relaxed, letting his head rest against the wall. So, what happens? Next, Lyra looked at him. We explore. We break things. You fix them. I study your emotional meltdowns. And maybe you teach me more about human hugs. Tom smiled. And maybe you teach me how to build a coffee machine that doesn't catch fire. Lyra tapped her chin. Deal, but only if I get to name it. What? Would you name it? She leaned in close. The Hug Brewer 9000. Tom laughed. Okay, that's actually perfect. Asterisk, she stood up and walked to the front controls. Buckle up, partner. First stop is a planet full of lava worms and sarcasm trees. That sounds dangerous. It is. He buckled the seatbelt. I'm in. The ship surged forward, heading into the unknown, with a human who still didn't fully understand the mission, and an alien girl who made fixing gear feel a lot like falling in love with extra sparks, weird snacks, and absolutely no warning labels, just the way they liked. At the end, asterisk,